Welcome to another Q&A session. I have been waiting for so long to record this video. Thank you so much for everyone who sent me the questions. Some of you have asked me several questions. I'll try to answer as many questions as possible in this video, but don't worry, if I haven't answered any of your questions in this video, then I will make a part 2 to answer the rest of the questions along with the new upcoming questions. I'm going to be skipping the intro for this video because I can't wait to dive into the questions. So let's start with the first question. The first one is a really lengthy one. So it goes like, the love that happens in our school or college always feels like the only one, but somehow destiny and fate decides otherwise, so we end up moving away from it. How to be hopeful of love and believe that we are capable of loving. Because whoever I meet and talk to, they only feel like I care and be affectionate, but I don't feel I love them. Even though we receive from them, only when we believe we can be a contributor to their life, there is a real purpose and the love feels real and there is surety to live together. How to overcome the fear of getting those feelings or love again. Wow, that was such a deep question. Right, so let's get straight to the point. You say that you feel this fear of never feeling that deep love that you felt with that person in your college or in your school time ever again in your life. So you have this fear due to one reason. It's only because you're holding on to this past version of you who lost that love. You're still holding on to this past, older, broken version of yourself. Remember, they have no business to be there in your current life, but you're still holding on to that version. And that's the only reason you're still blocking all the gifts, all the people, all the opportunities of real love that life has to offer you. That's the only reason. And when it comes to the person that you lost, remember, they weren't inherently special, okay? They weren't special by themselves. It's you who made them special through your love and the meaning that you gave to the relationship that you had with them, right? It's you and your love who made them special. You idealized them because of the way they made you feel at that time, but they're no longer the same person anymore. Maybe they never really were. It was you who put them on this pedestal and fantasized this ideal version of them in your mind. So what you have to do is start seeing them for the person that they are and not that fantasized version that you're still holding on to. So there are just two things you can do here. One, let go of that past version of yourself you're still holding on to. Let them go. You don't need that version anymore. You're not that person anymore. So why are you still holding on to them? Second, don't put that person on a pedestal. Take them off the pedestal, let them go. I know that it's not an easy task. You can't do it in one day. It will take some effort, but you will eventually reach there. And one thing that you need to bear in your mind is if you hold on to a past version of yourself that doesn't serve you anymore, it will affect all the other aspects of your current life. So you might have not found that perfect love of your life. You wouldn't have attained the position in your company that you want to, or you might not have that financial abundance that you've always worked for. You might have not received all this because you're still holding on to this version of yourself that's not serving you anymore. So you're blocking so many other things from coming into your life as well. So let go of that older version of yourself, let go of that person. You don't need either of them in your current life. So let's move on to the second question. What are the signs your partner is emotionally unavailable? Wow, I love this question. So instead of giving you an explanation of what emotional unavailability is, I'm going to just give you two real life examples. You can see for yourself how an emotionally unavailable partner looks like. So imagine scenario one, you go up to your partner and you say something like, I'm thinking of quitting my job. It's just that I can't handle the stress anymore. It feels overwhelming, and you know what? I feel so low about myself. And can we just talk for a bit. I feel I need your support right now. And your partner responds in one of these two ways. Either they just brush it off and say something like, yeah, you'll find another job, you know what, it's just a silly thing to talk about, there's nothing to talk about. And they completely ignore your need for emotional support. Or worse, they flip it on you. Why would you do something like that? How are you going to pay your bills? I already have so much to handle myself, and now you're quitting your job? That's not smart. In both cases, your emotional needs are not just unmet, they are invalidated. Or imagine scenario 2, where you already have started feeling that emotional distance and now you want to bridge the gap. You feel like you haven't had a heart-to-heart conversation with your partner for like days or even weeks. And so you go up to your partner and say something like, hey, you know what? I feel like we haven't really talked in a while, so can we just go out for dinner or maybe spend an hour, just the two of us, like old times? And your partner responds in one of these two ways. Either they say something like, yeah, let's think about it, but they never bring it up again and they completely ignore it. Or worse, they say something like, you know what, you have too much time in your hands and that's why you're thinking all these things. I don't have that much time. I don't have time for bullshit. You see that? That's emotional unavailability. It shows up in different ways, but the feeling that it leaves you with is always the same. Lonely, unheard, and emotionally disconnected. I hope that answered your question. Moving on to the next one. What's your view on arranged marriages versus love marriages? Right, so before I give you my humble opinions about arranged marriage and love marriage, let's look at the difference. So arranged marriage is where your parents support you to find a mate, to court, and then to get married. Whereas love marriage is where you fall in love with this person, you find them yourself, and then maybe you introduce them to your family and then you get married. So according to me, it doesn't matter if you find this person with the support of your parents or whether you just found them yourself in Bumble or in a coffee shop. All that matters is, are you willing to wake up every single day with this person beside you in your bed and spend the rest of your life together happily? Are you willing to stay with them through sorrow and happiness? Are you ready to spend the rest of your life with them? And if the answer is yes, go ahead and get married to that person. It should always be a case where you fall in love with the person and then get married. Doesn't matter if your parents help you find this person. If you spend enough time with that person and then you feel you genuinely are in love with this person, then get married. Don't get married because you feel that someone is forcing you, or maybe you feel pressured to get married to this person just because you've been in a relationship with them for like 6 years. No, you should marry out of your own will and to the person of your own choice, even though your parents support you to find this person. Marrying them should be your choice. Right, the next question is a bit too deep for me, but let's try. Are prenups good? Prenups in a sense, prenuptial agreement, at least a discussion around. So I have not been married yet to anybody, or I'm not in the phase of marriage. That means I don't have a fiance. So I will answer you with whatever knowledge I have about it. So if I were in a serious relationship and we knew that we would eventually get married to each other, then the first conversation that I would prioritize is about financial situations. I believe that transparency is key. Marriage is not just a romantic bond. It's a partnership involved with shared assets, responsibilities, and even sometimes debts. So imagine if one partner gets into the marriage without being aware that the other partner has financial burdens. It's not just a breach of trust, it's just unfair to the other person, really. Prenup encourages both people to lay their financial cards on the table early on, setting a foundation of clarity and mutual respect. So yes, prenups are not just practical, it's actually beneficial for both the partners. So next, I have actually combined two questions together. So the first part is, do men fall in love in arranged marriages? And the second part is, do men really love you when they say love you? I guess these type of questions arise because arranged marriages are usually seen in a negative way, where you're pressured by your parents to get married to this person, even if you don't like them, even if you don't fall in love with them. As I said before, if you like this person as an individual, if you respect them, and if you feel that you're falling in love with them, that's the only time you should ever choose to marry them, okay? Even though your parents support you to find a person in arranged marriages, it's you who decides whether you want to marry them or not. It's you who decide whether you're in love with them or not. So yes, men do fall in love in arranged marriages, but it depends on whether he is making the choice based on his opinion or whether he's just being pressured by his parents. And as a woman, I can say if a man is actually in love with me or not. So if I'm about to get married to someone that my parents found for me, then I can actually say if he loves me or not by the way he treats me, by the way he values me. And that beautifully connects to the next question. Do men really love you when they say they love you? A man who genuinely loves you will show it in his actions and not just say some flattery words. So when a man loves you, you can really say it from the way he treats you, the way he talks to you, the way he respects you, supports your dreams, listens to you when you speak, and the way he supports you emotionally. And when he says, I love you, you can see it in his eyes. He won't just say it in his own convenience. He'll say it when you least expect it. When you're crying, when you're being goofy, when you're just existing, and he is still in awe of you. Moving on to the next question, why do people settle for situationships instead of clear commitments? You know what? I feel it's because they lack self-respect. That could be the only possible reason to why you would settle for something less than what you deserve. You know how it all starts? When you somewhere deep down start believing that you're not enough, that you never deserve something like a relationship, and that you never be able to survive in a relationship. When you start doubting yourself, losing your self-respect, that's how you start settling for something as less as a situationship. First of all, let's see what a situationship really is. It's not a relationship, it's not a commitment, it's a blurry, confusing stage of life where you're probably physically intimate with someone else, but there's no emotional connection, there's no security, there's no trust. A relationship is built on emotional connection, shared values, trust, and long-term commitment. Whereas a situationship is just probably physical, transactional, emotionally unavailable. And the only possible reason we allow ourselves to be in something so emotionally draining is because we don't know our own worth. We think that this is the best we can get. And 99.9% of the time, one person catches feelings. And they start begging for the other person's attention. And honestly, that's painful. That's not love. That's self-abandonment. You're abandoning yourself to satisfy someone else's need, and they don't even want your love. So what are you begging for? Listen, when you find yourself being an option to someone, you better walk away from that person, because you know what? If you're not a priority to someone who you see as a priority, then I don't know what you're doing there in that situationship. You deserve a much better life. You deserve real love. You deserve commitment. And here's what I would say to anyone considering a situationship. Stay single. Honestly, Stay single until you find real love. Heal, get to know about yourself, work on yourself. Don't collect more emotional baggage by entering yet another dead-end connection that leaves you feeling so miserable and drained. The next question is, how to set boundaries with extended family and friends? Right, I guess you don't want to be rude, but then you still want to set boundaries. So here's something that I learned the hard way. The way you treat yourself is how everyone else will treat you as well. You know the mistake that we do? We don't draw this line. We don't draw this line and tell them that, no, I am not going to be available for this kind of treatment anymore. This is not going to work with me. We don't say that. We keep compromising, staying silent, and adjusting according to their needs. And when are we ever going to start standing up for ourselves and stop them from walking all over us? And if you want to deny something without being rude, just say, I'm sorry, but I don't really agree with that. Just say that. It's okay. Nobody is going to be nice to you. Then why are you trying to be this nice person that you don't even want to be? And if you feel that someone is forcing you with their opinion, just say, I understand your opinion, but you know what? I'm going to choose what's right for me. Just start speaking up. And you know something? The main reason to why we are not able to set boundaries with other people is because we don't set boundaries with ourselves first. So we might say, oh, tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m., go hit the gym, and then you know what, this and that and that, this, I'm going to get all of these things done. But then by the end of the day, you would still be laying on that bed like a potato without doing any of the things that you said you would do. So you never kept your own word to yourself. So you never held your boundaries with yourself. Then how are you expecting yourself to suddenly start setting boundaries with other people? You cannot. So you need to start keeping your own word to yourself, start setting boundaries with yourself and stick with it. And then eventually you'll be able to do the same thing with other people as well. It all starts with self-respect. The next time you find yourself breaking your own boundaries, hold yourself accountable, follow through. And eventually it will feel easier, almost natural, to set boundaries with your family, friends, partner, or even your own boss or parents. So we have reached the last question for this video. Does a relationship break when a woman loves more than a man? Let's talk about it. So we would have heard this in several places, that if a woman falls in love with a man more than he does, then the relationship would break. I'll explain to you what it actually means. So if you're a woman asking this, or even if you're a man trying to understand a woman's perspective, then listen. A woman falls in love emotionally first, not logically. She doesn't care if that man is fat or thin, if he's handsome or not, what's his job title, what's his qualifications. She doesn't even care about how many exes he had or his Instagram following. She cares only about one thing. Do I love him? And does he genuinely love me? That's the only thing a woman cares about. You know what? Women pour love freely, abundantly from the heart. We'll support him mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and even sometimes financially if we are truly in love with him. But here's the contrast. A man, most of the times, loves logically first. He'll be asking himself, is she beautiful? Is she smart? Is she kind? Is she good wife material? Would she be a good mother? He runs his checklist subconsciously or not. He might not have consciously written a list, but these are all the things that he thinks through first before letting himself fall in love with a woman. He falls in love based on logic first and then emotionally. Women, on the other hand, fall in love based on the emotions, and later the logic may kick in, or maybe it might not even. Don't get me wrong, a wise woman would know how to choose her man. She would pause her emotions and think with her logic. She would ask herself, Is this man worthy of my love? Will he meet me halfway? Does this man return the same kind of energy that I invest in him? She would be asking herself all these questions. But if a woman doesn't do that, then she's falling blindly in love with this man. She is ready to be misunderstood. She is ready to be emotionally drained and unsupported for the sake of a man. And that's why they say if a woman falls in love more than a man, then the relationship would break. Because almost always a woman is emotionally in it 100%. But when it comes to a man, he's 50% logically in it and maybe somewhat emotionally as well. And if he is not emotionally mature, then he would never truly meet her on the level where she gives from. But don't worry, if he loves you genuinely, it will be evident from the way he behaves with you, from the way he treats you, the way he respects and supports you. It will be clearly evident. So there's nothing to worry about. But if you fall in love and if you're a woman, then pause your emotions and think with your logic. Remember that always. And like that, we've come to the end of this video. I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you, answering your questions today. So I know that several questions are yet to be answered. So I will be answering those questions in part 2. Don't worry at all. And meanwhile, if you have any other questions, send it over to me either through Instagram DM or here on the comments. You can leave the comments. I'll collect these questions and I'll answer them in part 2. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then please leave it a thumbs up and leave your comments below because I would love to hear from you. And I'll see you in my next video. Until then, I love you all. Bye.